Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Binance podcast. My name is Wei Zhou. I'm the host for this show. In my daytime job, I'm the Chief Financial Officer for Binance. For those who do not know, Binance is a blockchain company and operates one of the biggest cryptocurrency exchanges in the world. We also are helping to build a bigger blockchain ecosystem with other key initiatives and investments, including Binance Labs, the Blockchain Charity Foundation, Binance Info Academy, as well as Trust Wallet and Travel by Bit. For me, I joined Binance from the traditional financial world, where I served as the Chief Financial Officer for several Chinese and American companies, two of which were listed on NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange. I started off my career in investment banking with Goldman Sachs. From my personal background, I was born in China, grew up in the US, and did university at Harvard. After graduation, I pretty much moved around Asia and the US, between Hong Kong, Beijing, LA, and Singapore. Since I've joined Binance, I basically have witnessed a lot more people who are becoming more and more interested in blockchain and cryptocurrency. And that interest comes not just from simply buying Bitcoin or trading, but from a deeper interest. So what I want to do with this show is to spend time talking to specialists, entrepreneurs, scholars, influencers, basically leading people from a variety of industries. One of the first guests I talked to is Helen Hai. She came from a social development and charity background. I will also be spending time with people from politics, entertainment, gaming, advertising, just a variety of background, and talking about blockchain technology. Hopefully through these conversations, we can share insights on how blockchain is changing not just these different industries, but also in changing the world. Here's a quick disclaimer. All opinions expressed by our host and our guests on this podcast are merely their own opinions. They do not imply any endorsements or opinions of their companies. You should not take these opinions as specific investment advice, as you will be solely responsible for your own investment. I recorded the following conversation with Fabien Aufrechter, who runs Havas Blockchain, at the Paris Blockchain Summit. For those who do not know, Havas Blockchain is a part of the Havas Group. Havas Group is a global marketing and communications company with over 100 years history and operates in more than 100 countries around the world. And Fabien runs the Havas Blockchain Initiative, which is a very dedicated initiative internally to serve crypto blockchain startups, SMEs, corporates, and governments, with the purpose to help such entities to conduct their own crypto ambitions through communication strategy and tech support. So I met Fabien in Paris, where Havas is headquartered. I really enjoy this conversation and really enjoy learning about some of the really cool work that Fabien and his team have done at Havas Blockchain. I hope you enjoy it as well. Hey everybody, this is Wei. I'm here at Paris Blockchain Summit at the beautiful Station F with Fabien from Havas Blockchain. He's head of the Havas Blockchain Initiative, and we're here to basically talk about what he's doing from Havas. For those who don't know, is one of the top advertising conglomerates in the world. He's been helping them to bring blockchain initiatives to all of their clients.
So thank you, Wayne, for welcoming me in this wonderful podcast here in Paris. Bienvenue, as we say in French.
Yeah. So Fabien, why don't you give a little bit brief introduction about yourself, your background, and then we can go from there.
Well, I'm graduated from history. It's funny enough. I've been studying history of international relations, and I was specialized in multilateralism, so governance already, from Trinity College Dublin, plus the Sorbonne University here in Paris. Then I studied just 1 year communication and started to work for big corporates, mostly for corporate communication, crisis communication, basically a global PR worldwide, mostly for the biggest international events, plus big clients such as Amazon, such as General Electric, such as big crises such as LuxLeaks, etc. So that's my background. And in fact, in the meantime, I've always been swimming in the big swimming pool of the startup. Already in Ireland, now in France.
You're from France?
I'm from Paris. And actually, I discovered in Ireland and then in Paris when I went back here how wonderful is the startup world. So I started to work with a bunch of them. A lot of them crashed. A lot of other did quite well, and so some of them were doing something weird at the time. It was something like 2013, 14. It was called blockchain, and nobody knew exactly what it was. And in fact, it wasn't even really a startup. It was more or less a little tiny company doing pedagogy about what this new stuff. And in fact, little by little, they did well. They are now one of the great blockchain consulting firm here in Paris.
Okay.
And in fact, they are just a startup. Even now they are something like 18.
Okay.
And one day they came to me and said, "Okay, we have huge fish. We have a huge fish here, but we can't work for it because we need to be international. We're just 18. How do we do?" And with my cap of Havas and my knowledge of blockchain, I proposed them to launch Havas Blockchain, which is the blockchain department of Havas Group, doing basically a range of very different things.
So in your role, it seems that you started off basically personally interested in sort of blockchain startups, but somehow in your professional role, you basically found a business need in your professional role.
Indeed.
And then you were able to basically combine that into forming an internal blockchain group at Havas.
Indeed. In fact, we started by supporting clients. So startups with incubation strategy, a lot of startups were willing to launch ICOs, STOs. Honestly, from a big advertising group point of view, it was absolutely weird. They were asking us things we didn't even understood at the time.
Aren't they too small for you? Because there's a big advertising group. You're used to working with large companies.
Indeed, and we did
big media campaigns, those kind of things.
We had no idea of how to do it. They had not enough money, but it was interesting still, and it was innovation. And at Havas Group, one of our motto is being innovative. So we were just, okay, let's try for having fun at the beginning, honestly. But in the meantime, something happened, which is corporates, our biggest clients, came to us and said, okay, we are interested by the technology, we need to better understand. And we are going to launch a project, and we have nobody able to advise us. So could you please try? We trust you for the communication. Let's try to build together the blockchain part. So
can you bring some of the services then from those startups to help these larger companies then?
Basically, it really depends. We started with incubation and communication. We developed strategy plus tech. We have now 450 dev in 6 countries.
Oh, wow.
And what we do is really depends the kind of project. For corporates, we worked with Orange. The big deal, it may sound funny, but the big deal for Orange was just not only to do pedagogy within. They had a wonderful product, which was an Ethereum-based voting machine.
Okay.
And in fact, it was just horrible to talk about blockchain technologies in a group which has a bank, by the way. But we did it, and the CEO of Orange in last December talked about blockchain technologies in his biggest event. So it's starting to start. Tomorrow you will have Carrefour here in Station F. They do their whole supply chain to be by 2020.
Yeah, so you and I were both at the Ministry of Finance and Economy, and then we had a panel yesterday. There's 3 panels. I was on the second one. The third one, I think the blockchain guy from Carrefour was there, and he kept on saying how they put chicken on blockchain. Right? It was basically the supply of chickens and potatoes are on the blockchain in Carrefour now.
Yeah, and
did you work on that?
Yes, we did. And actually, it may sound funny, but in the meantime, it's very clever because the food traceability is a huge issue in Europe. And actually,
globally as well. In
yes,
Asia, it's huge.
Yesterday, everybody was making fun of their initiative, but I really believe it's cool. They just launched the mousseline patatus to be on blockchain. And you may think, okay, why? And in fact, it's the
potatoes.
first time patatus.
Okay.
Mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes. Okay.
Mousseline. It's packaged, and you have the potatoes inside. And everybody say, okay, is it blockchain washing again? And in fact, the interesting part is it's going to be the first worldwide case where the package is going to be found in Carrefour. It's their initiative, but also in their competitors because it's a transversality of blockchain technology. So it's fun enough for actually for helping them to take the technology for doing something else as they were not able to do before. We did NG. They were also yesterday at the ministry. We did a range of other initiatives such as the UNICEF as a big campaign for raising fund
Yeah,
for
can you
children in Syria.
can you talk a little bit about the UNICEF campaign that you helped them on?
In a nutshell, basically, the idea is nobody is giving any more money to the UNICEF. It's sad, but it's a fact. People are not giving enough money, at least. And the ones who are not giving at all are the young people, millennials. They don't give. And gamers are probably the even worst. But in fact, if you give...
most likely because they don't trust the institution, right?
Exactly.
They see big name, big institution,
and they don't see
really care. They don't see. Well, I think most people care. They just don't. Most people want to see the impact of their giving. Like it's like instant gratification.
Exactly.
I push a button, something happens.
Good thing happening.
I give money. I want to see action. Right? I think it's the mentality. So that charities now have to migrate this way.
And in fact, it was very difficult, especially because it was for children in Syria.
Okay.
So the thing which is very far away, there's no impact immediately. So what we did is just giving for free a software for the gaming industry, and people uploaded it. And while playing, they were just basically mining a very tiny part of crypto, directly given to the UNICEF. And in very few days, they raised a bunch of money, and actually they did it so well that they replicate in Asia. And the biggest part for me in terms of adoption is that, okay, fine, they did raise a bit of money in crypto, but the real impact is that young people took this initiative to talk about crypto and to start talking about how crypto is not only for terrorism, etc., as we can hear way too often. And in fact, the interesting part is that you had a lot of people giving crypto through this mining system, but most of the funds were just coming from traditional funding channels because they were just very interested about the campaign which was going on. So the two sides of the funding way were just matching, so it was cool.
So the gamers, while they're playing, is a software where when they're playing games, they mine certain cryptocurrency, right? But during this process, they're learning about giving and the impact that they can have by giving.
And we did a huge campaign in the meantime of advertising, PR, etc. for people aware of...
The advertiser in this case then is UNICEF, right? So you revolve the campaign based on how young people are... you are helping young people to discover new ways of giving.
Exactly.
And around this campaign, you're able to drive awareness for the UNICEF and the initiatives they're doing in Syria. And you're actually getting more money from the traditional space as well.
Exactly, right? Which is amazing.
That's a wonderful... So it has the advertising, has a storytelling, it has impact, and then it has
and it works
adoption.
It works so well that the UNICEF, after the campaign, decided to open a way for people just willing to give money in Ether, in Bitcoin, in any cryptocurrency. So it was a good case.
You actually, from UNICEF's perspective, before they were just basically accepting fiat in the forms of donations, but now they're opening up for cryptocurrency as a form of donation onto their wider platform.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
But we did a range of big cases, such as, for sure, we did corporates, we did NGOs, we did also governments. We are working for 2 European governments, and we are also doing stuff for startups.
Can I go back to the UNICEF a little bit? Because that's really, really interesting, right? Because I think not many years ago, like 5 or 6 years, people were like, we love blockchain, but not Bitcoin, right? And the last few years, it's like, we love blockchain, but no cryptocurrency, right? But the thing is that you can't have blockchain without cryptocurrency, because you have the pipes and infrastructure, but you need water, you need oil to flow through it to make sure that transaction happens, action happens, right? So I'm going to pause right here. Can you tell a little bit, because I think the listeners of the podcast, I think some are from the crypto industry, some are from other industries. Can you talk a little bit about Havas as a whole?
Yes, and first I'd like to point out something which is going to sound weird, but which is very key. I'm going to answer your first question, which was how Havas, which is a huge group, is working with startups in the crypto sphere.
Yeah.
And in fact, you know how we did it? We did something nobody's doing. We are accepting to be paid in crypto and in token as a group, internationally speaking. And that was a good way, because when we work for a startup doing an ICO or an STO, we tell them, okay, anyway, the price of your token, the value of your token is going to be based largely on reputation. The reputation is our job. We believe we're going to do a great job because we trust your project. We are Havas. Okay, let's do it. Let's be paid partly in token.
We should talk Havas and Binance about how you can help our Binance Launchpad projects to get involved in some of these global campaigns there. Because I think one of the big parts that we help our Launchpad projects in their initial exchange offering on Binance is marketing, right? Is to bring awareness to the team, to the projects, and to the progress that they make over the years.
Basically, our job is to bridge the gap between traditional worlds, banks, insurance companies, states, governments, but also big corporates, with these crypto worlds they are afraid of, but they love it still, even though they don't even know it yet. So yeah, for sure, it's very complementary. And something else which is fun enough, you know, when you think about crypto, the first thing you have in mind is probably Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is said to be anti-bank. It's not exactly true. It is more anti-intermediary. And banks are one of the intermediary. Bitcoin was to replace bank, originally speaking. But there's something else, which is a big intermediary. Media buying.
That's your business. Yeah.
Well, and actually it's cool because, and that's why I really love working at Havas when it comes to blockchain technologies. Because actually one of the big things we are doing is trying to internalize the innovation we see from the outside to better understand and to see how we can be first, not only supporting clients, but ourselves. So we are doing tests, we are doing POC, we are doing testnet, we are doing a lot of stuff just to see.
So you're putting those 400 engineers to work then. Wow.
Exactly. Yeah. And we do it at the Havas scale. We do it also within Vivendi, the mother holding of Havas, with a range of very different projects. So it's pretty interesting. You'll see if you're coming Thursday morning. There's a big event where we will be with our other business unit from Vivendi, which is Bolloré, Bolloré Transport Logistique, which is basically starting to do blockchain technologies for the whole supply chain in Africa, for ferries, for harbors, for a range of different issues. We are also doing tests with a range of other business units, just to see what we can do.
So that's the blockchain strategy that you're helping your clients to build. Oh, that's
if we do it with our clients, if we believe it with our clients, we need to believe it ourselves and to try it ourselves. So accepting cryptos, token, but also doing it in our company.
I'm sure your finance department loves you.
They love us, especially at the very beginning. You know, it's but in the meantime, again, if you don't do it yourself, nobody's going to follow you. So yeah, it has been difficult, but one of the very big chances we had here is that the French government has been super helping. They helped us a lot. The IMF, the market authority in France, helped us a lot. The accountant public authority also helped a lot. And now the regulation in France and Europe is quite easier.
Yeah. Now we're on that. So can you talk a little bit about the ecosystem in France? What do you need? How do we activate? Because I feel like the talent base is here. The support from the government is here. Money is here. Like, what do you need to really sort of magnify and scale it up?
Well, in France, we have super lucky since the Middle Age. We have great universities, the Sorbonne universities, etc. I'm now lecturing blockchain technologies in HEC Polytechnique ESCP and PR communication in the Sorbonne University and Sciences Po. And I love it because our universities are great, but they are lacking of something which may sound weird, but actually they would love to launch blockchain programs, but they lack of money. Then we have a lot of corporates. We have a lot of banks having headquarters here. And our chance is that we can push all the crypto sphere, because if tomorrow a bank is accepting crypto, ICOs, etc., it will be huge. So having governments helping, having corporates interested, having banks in the middle, huge startups, as you can find here in Station F, is very cool. What are people looking for? Well, I would say if the talents are here, the biggest projects are not yet. And today, if I want to use an exchange, it's very difficult, for example, to find something in French. And don't laugh, but this is the biggest issue in France.
Language.
People don't speak English.
So it's still French.
Yes.
Of course, I get that.
It's crazy, I know. But for example, if I want to use any exchange, if I want to read any crypto media, international crypto media,
it's all in English.
All in English. And that's a huge issue for adoption here in France. And again, I really believe the French language is going to be key for another reason. Nobody is thinking about Africa.
I know that. So French is going to overtake Spanish over the next, I think, 10 to 15 years because of the dominance of the French language in West Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa.
And that's why we are currently launching a lot of projects there in Africa. because actually the adoption is going to be, let's say, not easier, but at least better.
I think, and my thing is that just like how Asia is native mobile, I think Africa is going to be native crypto. 80% of the Africa is unbanked too. I just think that it's gonna go native crypto because they're gonna, once they get the smartphone with a wallet on it, identity and financial services are all gonna be on your hand. So yeah. So
I did a joke last time saying that when Facebook is targeting India for launching their Facebook coin, it's just because they are looking for the best place with most of people are having mobiles but no bank accounts. Just have a look to Africa now. Same. And the funny part is that in Paris, you have the Maison du Bitcoin, which is no coin house, a little place where you can do community events, etc., and also buy some Bitcoin. We were having a look to the people buying Bitcoin and selling Bitcoin. I don't remember exactly the number, but more than the half were just basically apparently sending money to Africa because they don't.
It's remittance then.
Yes.
What do they send? They send euros or who knows?
Who knows?
Bitcoin,
but probably Bitcoin, I believe, for different of reasons. But the thing behind, and even though I'm not sure of the number exactly, the idea that you use Bitcoin rather than using Western Union, I love it. Just no fees, no transaction fees.
Well, Western Union is blockchain and tokenizing as well. I saw that in the news. So,
and it's good. It's a perfect demonstration that it's coming in terms of adoption.
Yeah. So going back to the previous question, can you tell us a little bit about Havas? Like what? Because I don't think a lot of our listeners know about Havas. I know it's a very big name here in France and in the advertising world.
Yeah.
Your competitors like WPP, Publicis, and Dentsu, but sort of give us a little bit of background about Havas.
Fact, in the 19th century, it's funny, but not so much. The story is nice. There was a huge company which was doing some news. It was not an advertising. It was way more newswire, like what you would find with Reuters today. And in fact, after the Second World War, this huge conglomerate has been separated in two parts, separating the PR from the news. The news is what all of you, being the AFP.
The agency French, the French the French APY.
Exactly. And the communication is Havas.
Okay.
And in fact,
so this is a very old company.
It's pretty old, one of the oldest. Balzac, the French writer, said that it was the biggest, best informed company at the time.
I got Balzac on the on my podcast. This is awesome. I love France. So much culture here.
And actually, the big deal with Havas is what we do. We do hand-to-hand communication, advertising, PR, media buying, CRM, worldwide, 200 agencies, even more. And our core leitmotif is innovation. So we are here in Paris with the headquarters. So that's why it's very key as a country. France is so key for us. But you can go in New York City, you can go anywhere. We are pretty everywhere. So we have a huge network helping us to have very different clients. Our main focus are corporates. But now it's also crypto and merchant clients, even though we are looking for the biggest one, just because we are fitted, we are working basically for big players.
Okay. Last question. What are you looking forward to the most this year? What's like your number one wish for this year?
Well, it's not a wish, it's something which is going to be happening.
Or something that you're doing, anything that you're most looking forward to.
There's so many things. By the way, we just launched the first worldwide offering for SMEs doing STOs in France.
I did not know that.
Under 8 million, you can do it without any regulation now through Havas.
I actually think that's how STOs could work, because rather than adding additional disclosure or enforcement or risks to the business, you can just sort of limit the threshold in terms of dollar amount being raised, and then amount being invested, so that you diversify the risk, and then you lower the absolute amount of risk. Because a lot of these securities or quote unquote security tokens, they can evolve into utility tokens as the project or the foundation behind it decentralizes. I think that
agree.
But by adding a lot of these regulatory burdens on these early stage companies, they're gonna spend half the money they raised on lawyers. That's not why people are giving them
Fully
money.
agree, and that's
right?
why I love the
So
law allowing you to raise it.
So tell me a little bit about this 8 million STO regulation.
Well, basically, the EU law allow you not to need any agreement if you raise under 8 million.
Okay.
So we have the full package. Basically, you are having a big project. We do everything.
Okay.
You don't need anything, and we are under the 4 to 5% of cost from what you will raise. So it's just same for you. So it's democratization again of crypto, and that is probably my wish, which is having big players launching real projects. I'm really expecting the Facebook coin for one reason. If Facebook is doing it, this means we were all right from the normal people, let's say. And actually, Facebook is a big deal for me for another reason, being communication again. We are also doing social media.
But
so
it's like my honest opinion on the Facebook project.
I have no idea what to do.
It's a double-edged sword. It's going to be good, but everything they do is going to be centralized into one person.
Hopefully not.
But the way that company is right now, and why I think users and media and governments and as a whole are moving against that force, is the centralized nature of Facebook.
Yes, but you see, Facebook coin, GAFA coin are big. There's also States coin you just mentioned. And let's have a look. China is doing it. They are doing their crypto renminbi. They don't even need to centralize anything. Anyway, what is the pure sense of a crypto and blockchain? It's mining anyway. And mining is energy. And one road, one belt is also the mining road, energy road. So they don't even need decentralizing anything, because anyway, they have the power over the whole concept. So, okay, it's even more scary and probably not so good. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, the adoption is probably the key.
I think so. I mean, because nothing drives progress like FOMO.
Exactly.
So okay, great. Thank you, Fabien.
Thank you.
We look forward to seeing you and talking to you again. And then hopefully, I'll be back in Paris and then we can catch up.
I'll be in the US for consensus, so maybe there.
Okay, great.
With your team.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for listening to the launch of the Binance podcast. I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I did. And if you like this show, please share this episode on Twitter, Facebook, Telegram, WeChat, or any other social media platforms. Please don't forget to subscribe to the Binance podcast, and see you next time.